Salutations YouTube, Luke Innes here. Sorry there hasn't been any videos for about a week. It's been podcast time. As you know, I kind of do one and then the other in bursts. So yeah, getting back on the bandwagon now. Back on the wagon, rather, with the YouTube videos. I'm going to be kicking things off with another DVD collection video. I should say as well, I have been working on stuff for the YouTube channel. It's just that it's been for a project that's upcoming, something quite exciting that will be happening at the end of the month, so be looking forward to that. Incidentally, mentioning the podcast, link in the description as always to the podcast. Go and check it out. It would be really nice of you to do that. That's kind of my favourite thing in the world, is doing the podcast. Much as I love doing the YouTube channel, the podcast is kind of the thing that I really want to push. I've been saying it all along that the YouTube channel is basically about hopefully trying to direct a few people towards checking out the podcast. Let's get on with it anyway. So I mentioned in the last video that we were coming up on a series that I wanted to cover. So like half of this edition is going to be this series, and it's one of my favourite series, and I've spoken about it before. So it's the George Romero Living Dead movies. This is another copy of Night of the Living Dead. I've shown this. This is the third time I'm showing a copy of Night of the Living Dead in these collection videos. I showed in the Blu-ray video, I showed Night of the Living Dead. I showed a double pack that had Children of the Living Dead on it in the very first collection video. And this is another version of it. This contains both the original black and white movie. It also contains a colorized version of the film, which I have checked out, and it's got that very stereotypical look of a colorized black and white film, all being very washed out and not very not really looking that real, kind of looking coloured in, But I mean, it's interesting to see. That's the reason I bought it, was to check out this is. I mean, it's been colorised several different times, but this is one colorised version. This is released by Stax, who I can only assume are a company that are releasing this, or released this rather, because they have the right to, because it's public domain. I mean, I've no idea really. But yeah, no, again, that's yet another copy of Night of the Living Dead I'm showing you. I've done so many Night of the Living Dead related videos now that it's ridiculous. I did a full audio commentary on Night of the Living Dead, which I'll leave a link to in the description. I've also done a worst to first on the George Romero zombie movies, which I shall leave a link to in the description. And I also recently did a video on the news story that a man has been convicted of child cruelty for punishing a child by making her watch Night of the Living Dead. So I'll leave a link to that in the description as well. That was quite recent. Moving on, of course, next up is Dawn of the Dead. This is one of two copies I own. This is the Arrow Films, not Arrow Video, but Arrow Films release of the movie. Contains the Dead Will Walk, as well as the theatrical cut of the movie. This is the theatrical edition. Obviously, this is an amazing movie. This is, I said it before on the channel, one of my top 5 films of all time is Dawn of the Dead in its many different forms. This version is, I don't know if this is my favourite version. It's between two, but the theatrical version is pretty great. This is Romero's preferred vision, so I guess this is the kind of the one to go for if you want to see the sort of definitive version of the film as far as George Romero is concerned. A group of survivors of a zombie apocalypse hole up in a shopping mall. Once they've gotten it secure, they kind of get a taste of life as it once was. Eventually, have to fight off threats from outside, which may not necessarily be zombies. This is a brilliant movie. Highly recommended. Superb amounts of blood and guts and gore and whatever else. Plus, there's a ton of social commentary to go along with it. Highly recommend Dawn of the Dead. One of the best movies ever made for me. Of course, I've also got the extended cut. Now, this is often, you see this being sold as the director's cut. But what this actually is, this is the cut that was shown at the Cannes Film Festival in 1978, before it was put on general release. So it's basically, I mean, it's the same movie in all its different versions, Dawn of the Dead, but it is, you know, there are variations. This version is extended. It's about 10, I think it's about 10 minutes longer than the 127 minutes. Okay, that's helpful. So this version doesn't have a runtime on it, but 139 minutes. So yeah, this version's about 10 minutes longer, but I should say that that's not necessarily just 10 minutes extra stuff. It's worth having both, because there's stuff in the theatrical cut that wasn't in this one, and stuff in this one that wasn't in the theatrical one. So get both. This is my other favourite cut of the movie, by the way. I don't have the Dario Argento European cut, Zombie. I also don't have the extended opening hours cut. I don't have that. That's like a fan cut that's just got everything. And I really do want to get those. So if anyone can recommend me good versions to go for of those, then please do. I'd happily shout you out if you potentially can help me out on that one. Okay, next up, Day of the Dead. So this is an Arrowdrome release. Arrowdrome sort of releases the movies from Arrow after, just a little essay in a booklet there, after they've been on their big sort of Arrow Video boutique releases. You know, these movies are sort of, you know, they're stripped back versions. They've got, you know, only a handful of extras rather than the sort of giant smorgasbord of extras you usually get with a proper Arrow Video release. But Day of the Dead, this is obviously Arrowdrome. The film itself is brilliant. I've reviewed this on the channel. Won't go on about it too much. Leave a link to the review of this movie in the description, so you can check that out if you want to. Next up, Land of the Dead. Now, I won't go on about this one too long, because I've covered sort of what I think of this in the worst to first Romero zombie movies list. That's for a... don't know. But yeah, Land of the Dead's pretty cool. There's kind of a citadel been built, and the zombies are kind of fenced out, and all of that sort of thing. And obviously it all goes a bit wrong. But yeah, no, this is a pretty good movie, I've got to say. Not a nice little return from Romero. So yeah, obviously if you want to hear more of my thoughts on that, the link is to the worst first video in the description. Diary of the Dead. This is my favourite of the latter three George Romero zombie movies. There's a card for a competition that expired in 2008. So yeah, Diary of the Dead, this is a found footage movie, but it is a pretty good found footage movie, I've got to say. Definitely really enjoyable. If you're into your George Romero stuff, if you want to see George Romero doing something different and very interesting with one of his movies, check out Diary. Yeah. So this is the weakest of the George Romero directed movies, Survival of the Dead. It's okay, but it is very generic. That's my big complaint about it. And I maybe need to watch it again, but it just seemed like a really generic zombie movie to me, but whatever. Okay, so next up we've got the remakes. So this is the first remake. This is the Night of the Living Dead remake from 1990. This is the official remake, incidentally, the George Romero sanctioned version. Obviously, because it's public domain, there have been several. This comes with quite a nice booklet with some bits and pieces about the movie in it. Just a little fold-out thing. But yeah, no, this is a solid remake, actually. This is my favourite of the remakes. This is actually my favourite of the movies within the franchise that is not directed by Romero. Yeah, I mean, frankly, this is a really solid remake. It's got a lot of respect for the original. It's very gory, as you would expect, being directed by Tom Savini. Yeah, pretty great movie actually. Maybe I should review this sometime. Yeah, no, not the Night of the Living Dead remake is really good. There's some commentaries and there's a really good making of thing on here that I would check out if you've got this DVD. It was very interesting, you know, going into the process of trying to recreate a masterpiece, I guess. But yeah, that's a really good film. I like that movie a lot. Next up, one that I kind of like and kind of don't, the Dawn of the Dead remake. When people say that they prefer this to the original, I just want to slap them, frankly. Because it's clearly inferior, let's be honest. That's not to say it isn't a good movie, though, but I mean, you know, there's plenty of movies that, you know, don't hold up well against their original counterpart. Even if they are good movies in their own right. This is definitely one of them, I've got to say. I mean, it's basically, aside from the fact that it's set in a shopping mall, it's got nothing to do with the original. So, you know, it's a remake in name only. But yeah, no, it's not a bad movie at all, but it's just a very kind of, you know, very well made, admittedly, but very generic zombie film that, you know, bears the name of, you know, the greatest zombie film rather than just having its own name. Which is, you know, a shame, but whatever. You know, a lot of people like that movie, and I can see why. It is a good movie in its own right. It's just that if you're going to tack a name onto a movie, then you've got to expect it to be judged by the standards of that movie. And I mean, Dawn of the Dead's one of the best films ever made, as far as I'm concerned, and I will argue that until the end of now. So, you know, whatever. Next up. Do we have to go into this? Because everyone knows that this is a piece of shit. The Day of the Dead remake. This, I remember it happening. A trailer got put up on YouTube and everyone just freaked out at it. They were like, you know, this looks terrible, you know. And then it very quickly got taken down and like plans to release it theatrically were cancelled and it went straight to DVD, as I recall. Yeah, no, awful film, awful remake, by far the worst. Yeah, man, considering that the Day of the Dead, again, it's a bit like the Dawn of the Dead remake. Considering there's such great source material there, they should really have been able to do better than this. You know, you got to big up Tom Savini for, you know, doing really well in Night of the Living Dead, actually. I mean, yeah, he had a good script in it, you know, that he had nothing to do with, but fuck, that's a good movie. And it's very respectful of the original. He's actually, I read recently, he's directed a remake of Nightmare City, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. It'll probably be terrible, but, you know, now that I've bigged him up. But moving out of the Romero movies, this is Night Train Murders. This is released by Shameless, and this is a video nasty. That's the reason I bought it. And I'm glad I did, because this is definitely a very interesting movie. I did a top 25 video nasties, that's the reverse cover. I did a top 25 video nasties video on my channel not too long ago, and this was on there. So, you know, you can hear some more of my thoughts about it there. But I guess to give you a brief sort of summation of my thoughts, this is like a rape and revenge type movie playing on the Last House on the Left formula. It's an Italian movie. About these two girls who are going on a overnight train from Germany to Italy, I think, over Christmas, or possibly, I can't quite remember, but they're on this long distance overnight train, and they run into these pair of thugs, this group of thugs who kind of take them hostage and rape and kill them. And end up getting caught up with the parents of one of the girls. So yeah, no, this is, yeah, it's, like I say, it goes on that sort of formula. It's a lot better made, actually, like from a production value standpoint than Last House on the Left. Not necessarily better, but it is definitely interesting, and there's some interesting stuff touched upon in this movie. So yeah, Night Train Murders, that's pretty cool. Obviously, you can check out in the link in the description my thoughts on movie a little bit more when I talk about it in the Video Nasties video. Okay, next up, Nightmare on Elm Street collection. I've been checking these out recently to do with a project. I mean, I've always kind of been a big fan of the original movie. So I'll tell you what, let's go through them one by one. The first movie is pretty great. There's really not much that you can improve about it. It's a really creepy little horror movie, really enjoyable. There's a lot going on under the surface that you could kind of pick apart if you want to, but if you don't, it is still a really fun popcorn movie, which is kind of, it appeals to multiple ideas, you might say. Freddy's Revenge, the second one, not so good. Definitely not anywhere near the standard of the original. But there is still some fun to be had with it. There are some pretty entertaining kind of kills and stuff going on. So that's, Freddy's Revenge is kind of a, for hardcore fans only. Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors is the sequel that the original deserved. Really great movie. Takes a very new sort of tact with it. The kind of this idea of people like a team forming to fight Freddy rather than it being Nancy all out on her own. That's a really great movie. What came first? The Dream Master is the fourth part. The Dream Master's pretty good. Really enjoyable movie. Definitely not quite up to the scratch of something like Dream Warriors, but the Dream Master kind of continues that lineage pretty well. Dream Child, the fifth part is again quite a good continuation of that lineage. Definitely not bad. The sixth part, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. It's terrible, frankly. Easily the worst of the original 7. Really bad horror comedy that isn't funny or scary. And Wes Craven's New Nightmare, fuck's sake. Wes Craven's New Nightmare is the return of Wes Craven to the directing chair of the series. It's really great. Actually, this movie, it's probably my third favourite. I'd say that. Obviously the original is my favourite, and then Dream Warriors, then this. It's a pretty good movie. Really interesting to see, the people trying to sort of carry something new into the franchise. But this comes with a bonus disc, which I've actually never watched. What's on it? I'm not even sure. Okay, so there's a documentary about Freddy, a couple of documentaries about the series. It looks pretty cool. I'll have to check it out. So that's the Nightmare on Elm Street collection, which has the original Nightmare series, the first 7. In addition, I've got the shitty remake, which I'm not going to bother talking about too much. This is awful. One of the worst horror remakes. Don't watch it. Apparently they're doing another one, which is obviously a terrible idea. Next up, we've got North by Northwest, the Alfred Hitchcock classic. This is a film about like the ultimate case of mistaken identity. Right, let's see if I can remember what it is. So it's basically about this guy who the government think is a terrorist agent, and terrorists think he's working with the government, and kind of it's all about this big crossed wires and him sort of, being a reluctant hero and then getting recruited and, all of that sort of thing. Really entertaining movie, actually. Check out North by Northwest if you haven't already. This is, great. Alfred Hitchcock's pretty great as a director. I mean, check it out. Next up, and I haven't watched this, this is Northern Soul. Northern Soul was a music scene in Britain, in the north of Britain, in the 1970s that was just basically soul records that were played in nightclubs and people danced to them, doing crazy dances. But I haven't watched the movie yet. I thought it looked like fun, so I picked it up. and I'm looking forward to checking it out because I quite like these sort of British period pieces. They're pretty cool. I'm into Quadrophenia and This Is England and that sort of thing. So yeah, I'll definitely be checking that out. Next up, one of the all-time classic British sitcoms, The Office. Yeah, I don't really need to say much about The Office, do I? This is the special edition set, so there's a little booklet in here, and this has got an essay by Ricky Gervais in it, so it's just like a little retrospective on the thing. This is like a 10th anniversary edition. So I mean, you've got the that's the first series, and there's like a string of kind of extra content, extra interviews with the cast that kind of precede each episode, and fans of the series and stuff. Then you get the bonus features for series 1. So on there's the pre-pilot tape that was made by Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant before even the pilot. It's like the almost like a demo tape. There's the Comedy Connections episode about The Office. There's some deleted scenes, a documentary and stuff. What would be nice, and I've never seen in full, is the pilot of the Office. The actual pilot is not on this set, which is a great shame. There's series 2. I would say overall probably the slightly better series, but it's got deleted scenes and outtakes and stuff. That's pretty cool. And then disc 4 has the 2 Christmas special episodes, which are like extended episodes. There's a documentary on there, some stuff about the Golden Globes, and some stuff about the music. They obviously David Brent's music career that he tried to have in the series. I haven't seen Life on the Road yet. That came out like 2 days ago at the time of recording this, so I need to see that. But yeah, I love The Office. Fantastic stuff. Next up, Oil City Confidential. Now this is a documentary and a half. It's a Julian Temple piece about a band called Dr. Feelgood, who I mean, they're still going in massively different lineup, but they were an Essex band who had fairly brief success in the 70s, the early to mid 70s through the late 70s, and yeah, they were just so fantastic that, I mean, it's a shame they don't get more notice. In fact, they have actually gotten a bit more notice as a result of this documentary in recent years. So yeah, I mean, this was, admittedly, the documentary was the first I really knew of them. But yeah, superb documentary. If you're into rock docs, check it out because it is one of the best, particularly of recent years. This is kind of considered to be like the prequel in a way to what was it called? Great Rock and Roll Swindle. Because it's about the music that came immediately before that. So yeah, no, great movie, Oil City Confidential. Next up, Pet Sematary, the Stephen King adaptation, sort of zombie, supernatural thing. Really entertaining, lots of great violence, really enjoyable movie. Basically just a movie about a guy who's kind of is trying to protect his family and stuff when, death is kind of creeping into the family, and he gets told about this burial site where if you bury bodies they come back to life, and yeah, no, it's a really, really good movie. I really, really enjoyed it. Good stuff. And yeah, no, it's just, like I say, really fun. Follows one character, looks at who that character is. Great stuff. Really enjoyable. Next up, the Pink Floyd The Wall, the movie. yeah, this is superb. It makes me laugh when I see stuff like this because it's got limited edition, includes original film poster on it, and I got this as a kid. And yeah, the poster is long gone. I put it on my wall as a kid, and yeah, nothing. But yeah, no, I mean it's good stuff. The wall, basically, obviously it's the Pink Floyd album soundtracking this string of visuals to go with it, in which Bob Geldof plays a rock star who has holed himself up in his room and is kind of thinking back over his life and stuff, trying to, sort of having a bit of an internal breakdown. So yeah, no, the wall is fantastic. We'll leave it at that for the this edition. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Please check out the links in the description, and I'll see you again next time I decide to do one of these things, which could be any time from tomorrow to in 6 months' time. Who knows? But I'll see you then anyway.